Hi everyone, I am Neha and I work on AI agents for infrastructure governance at Nirmata. In this video, I'll introduce the Remediator agent, which auto-remediates the Kyverno policy violation. I'll show you how it integrates with Kyverno and a GitOps workflow, walk through its configuration, and demonstrate a policy violation being converted into a pull request. So, let's start with the problem. So, Kyverno is excellent at detecting policy violation. It continuously tells us what's wrong in the cluster. But fixing those violations is still a manual process. Someone has to identify the affected resource, find the Git repository that owns it, update the manifest, create a pull request, get it reviewed, and finally let the GitOps synchronize it back to the cluster. When you're operating dozens of clusters, this quickly becomes repetitive and time consuming. This is exactly where the Remediator comes in. The Remediator automates everything after detection. It detects the policy violation, traces each resource back to its source in Git, generates a remediation, validates it, and creates a pull request. It is important to note that it never modifies the live cluster directly. So Git remains the source of truth, and every change still follows the same review and approval process that your team already uses. All right. So now that we've seen the overall workflow, let's look at how all of these components fit together. At a high level, the Remediator runs as a Kubernetes operator. Kyverno runs in the cluster and it produces policy reports containing the violation. The Remediator reads the relevant violations based on its configure target and filters. And for each one, it traces the violation back to its source, which is the actual file in the GitHub or the GitLab, and it proposes a change. So this proposed change comes from an LLM, or it can also be deterministic with no use of AI at all. And yeah, the agent will then commit and create a new pull request, and someone from the team has to review and merge it just like any other change. And the Argo CD or Flux CD will then pick it up and sync it back to the cluster. Then Kyverno reevaluates, the violation clears, and the loop closes. So all of this is automated end to end, but it's never outside your normal Git or GitOps process. All right. Now that we've seen the complete flow end to end, let's go to the demo part. For this demo, I've already installed the Remediator agent with Helm. I will trigger a live remediation, and while it runs, let me quickly also show you what's already running in the cluster so that when the PR shows up, you know exactly how we got there. Now let's pull up what's inside the Nirmata namespace. So we have, yeah, so firstly, we have a controller deployment. That's the engine. So it runs continuously, watches our configs, and executes the remediation. Secondly, there are custom resources that tells the engine what to do. So let me walk you through each of these CRs quickly. Let's first look at the Remediator CR. So here, what the Remediator CR does is it tells us three main things. One is like where exactly to look. So in this case, we are in the Argo CD hub mode and we're targeting the basically the applications that are managed by Argo. It also tells us when to run. So this is scheduled for every 6 hours. And we also have event polling. So we don't only wait for the cron. And next it tells us like what action to take. So here you can see we're going to create a PR. And you'll also notice that it also references to a tool config and an LLM config. So that's how it wires the LLM generation and the Git delivery together. Next, let's look at the LLM config. This is where we configure the AI provider. So in this case, we're using the Nirmata AI, and this is used to generate the remediations. So basically, when the remediator finds a violation, it uses this config to turn the violation into a concrete suggested change. Then next, let's look at the tool config. This is a Git integration. So our figure to use GitHub, and it is using the Nirmata GitHub app. So once the agent has a fixed tool config is what lets you create a branch and create a new pull request. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Let me show you the run from the remediator that we just triggered. So let's look at the PR that it has created. And yeah, in this case, it created this PR. Let me just quickly open it. Perfect. So you can see it in the description, it has mentioned all the violations that were found. and basically a fix for it. It also provides us with an explanation what is the runtime impact of actually applying these changes and what is the confidence of the change that has been made. And these are all the suggested change that it has provided. So that's about the Remediator agent. Now, yeah, so basically that's all I had for the Remediator agent. I would actually like to know how do you manage your policy violations, and let me know your thoughts and if there's anything else that you would like to see in the next video. Thank you.